All right, let's talk about Northwest Arkansas real estate. If you've been paying any attention at all, you know the last couple of years have been, well, a total whirlwind, right? But here's the thing. 2026 is a completely different ballgame. The old rules, they just don't apply anymore. We've dug into all the latest analysis to put together a straightforward playbook for you. So let's jump right in.
So let's get right to the million-dollar question, the one everyone's asking. Is the frenzy over? The short answer is, yeah, pretty much. Those wild days of just slapping any old price on a house and watching a crazy bidding war break out, they're in the rearview mirror. But, and this is a big but, that does not mean the market is dead. Far from it. It just means it's different. It's gotten smarter.
And that really gets to the heart of what's going on. We're not crashing, but we're not in that crazy boom anymore either. We're at what all the experts are calling an inflection point. And what that really means is we've seen a huge shift. We've gone from a market that was all about raw momentum to one where, you actually need a real strategy to win.
Yeah, we're definitely at a crossroads here in NWA. I mean, look, the sales volume is still incredibly strong. We're talking more than 5,000 homes sold in just the first half of 2025. That's a huge number. But the how, the way people are actually buying and selling, has totally transformed. It really is a crossroads, and picking the right path forward is absolutely critical.
So what does this inflection point actually mean for you? Well, think of it like this. The market's finally taking a breath. It's more balanced. If you're a buyer, you've got more choices and a little more time to think. And if you're a seller, you've got to be way more strategic about your price and how your house looks. The bottom line is, it's not about making the fastest move anymore, it's about making the smartest one.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this shift, we got to dive into the numbers. The data tells the real story here. It shows us why things have changed and, more importantly, gives us the clues we need to navigate the market in 2026.
Let's kick things off with what is, without a doubt, the single most important number for the entire NWA market. Ready? 36. What's that? That is the number of people, on average, moving here every single day. Let that sink in. Every day, 36 new people need a place to live. This relentless demand is the foundation, the bedrock that's keeping our market so resilient. It's the engine driving everything else we're going to talk about.
Okay, next up, 70. 70 days. That's the average time a house is sitting on the market right now. Now, you might think, whoa, that's longer than before. And yeah, it is. Longer than the crazy, frantic pace we saw a couple years back. But 70 days, that's still a really healthy market. It tells us two things. One, if a home is priced right, it will sell. And two, buyers are just being a bit more thoughtful. They're taking their time, doing their homework, and not just jumping at the first thing they see.
So what's all this mean for prices? Are they crashing? Not even close. In Benton County, prices are up almost 9% year over year. The average sale price is sitting around $471,000. And this isn't some crazy bubble, folks. This is strong, steady, sustainable growth. And it's all fueled by that one magic number we talked about, 36 new people every single day.
And you can really see the whole picture right here. You've got Benton County leading the pack at about 471, but look at Washington County, not far behind at all, with a solid average of 417. The key takeaway here is that both counties are seeing healthy growth. And if you're a homeowner, that's music to your ears, because that means your equity is growing too.
Okay, let's switch gears. If you're a seller or even just thinking about selling in 2026, listen up. You need a completely new playbook. Seriously, take the old one and just toss it. That whole field of dreams, list it, and they will come strategy, it's done.
Your new playbook really boils down to two things, and these are non-negotiables. First, you have to price your home strategically, right from the get-go. Overpricing is the kiss of death in this market. It's the biggest mistake you can possibly make. Second, you have to nail the presentation. We're talking professional photos, maybe some staging, those little updates you've been putting off. These aren't just nice-to-haves anymore. They are absolutely essential if you want top dollar. And look, if you're skeptical about whether all that prep work really pays off, let me tell you a quick story. This is a real-world example from right here in Bentonville. A seller spent just $3,000 on some fresh paint, new light fixtures, a little bit of staging. The result? The house sold in 10 days for $15,000 over asking. You do the math, that is a 5-to-1 return on their investment. It just goes to show you, strategy works.
All right, buyers, it's your turn. Let's flip the script. The great news for you is that things have calmed down. You've got more homes to choose from, a little more time to make a decision. But don't get too comfortable. This isn't a market where you can just sit back and wait. You've still got to be smart, and you've still got to be ready to move.
Okay, if there is one piece of advice you take away from this as a buyer, let it be this: don't marry the rate, marry the house. I love that. Think about it. Yeah, rates are hovering around 6%. But guess what? You can change your rate. You can refinance down the road. What you can't change is the house. If you find the perfect home for your family, that's what matters. You can't go back in a time machine a year from now and buy it for today's price.
And this isn't just theory. Waiting has a real cost. Let me give you an example. We saw a couple who found a home they loved back in 2023, but they hesitated. They wanted to wait for rates to come down. Well, guess what happened? In the time they were waiting, that exact same house went up in value by $50,000. So even if they got a slightly better rate now, they've lost out big time. The lesson? When you buy, you start building equity that very day. When you wait, you're just watching prices go up.
So where are the opportunities? Where can you find an edge as a buyer? Here are a few tips. First, keep an eye out for homes that have been on the market for a bit, say 60 to 90 days. Those sellers are usually way more motivated to make a deal on things like closing costs or repairs. Second, don't sleep on up-and-coming areas like Lowell and Centerton. There's some great value to be found there. And finally, and this is huge, get your financing locked down now. Get fully pre-approved so that when the market heats up in Q1, you are ready to pounce.
All right, let's pull it all together. What does the crystal ball say? Based on everything we're seeing, here's what we're forecasting for the first part of 2026. Think of this as your sneak peek of what's coming down the road.
So here it is, the quick and dirty forecast. First, prices. We expect them to keep climbing, but at a more normal, healthy pace, probably 1 or 2% for the quarter. Second, inventory. It should stay right in that sweet spot, what we call a balanced market, with about 4 to 6 months of homes for sale. And finally, mortgage rates. The consensus is they're going to hang out right where they are, somewhere between 5.75 and 6.25%. The big theme here? Stability. No more wild swings.
So we'll leave you with this one final question to think about. In this new NWA market, it's become pretty clear that trying to perfectly time everything, well, that's a fool's errand. The real question you should be asking yourself is, what's my strategy? How am I going to adapt? Because make no mistake, in this new era of real estate, it's not about luck or timing anymore. It's the smart, strategic players who are going to come out on top.